Hello adventurers, it is I, Solist Venture, and welcome to my YouTube channel. And for today, or I should really just say for the month of July, I will be covering a video of a new series called How to Structure Your Solo Tabletop RPG Adventures for Beginners. So this video is actually the very first one in this series, and today's topic, we are going to be covering how to make adventure prompts. So just to kind of give you a little imagery here, so we have here a sword, and this sword, it seems to be kind of I guess very well used. You can see like the cracks in here, and it is stuck on this hill in the ground, and you can see like the pretty sunset is kind of hitting the hills and the sky in a really nice like hues of like pinks and orange. But I was just thinking of an adventure prompt as I was making this little image. Like I was thinking, I wonder, maybe this sword was left by a mighty warrior or something, or maybe this sword is actually a cursed item, and someone just stuck it on the ground because they were tired of carrying it around, maybe. So I don't know, those are just some ideas as I was kind of drawing this little imagery. But yeah, we will be going into the topic of adventure prompts. So first things first, you have to choose a system. So a tabletop RPG system, and I have some examples here, but that could be Shadow Dark, that could be Troika, that could be White Box. Over here, my advanced D&D 2nd edition. So after you pick a system, then you would go into creating your character, right? And so I remember when I first started out, I kind of struggled with what to do first. Do I make my PC first, or do I build the world first? And for me personally, just in my own experience, and I've only been in this hobby for probably like a year now, but I do find it easier to build your PC first, because then you can create a backstory, and then you can create the world and shape it to the PC and the PC's story and experience, and you can just create the world that they're trying to navigate. And so after you do that, after you make your PC, then you can go into their backstory, etc. And then finally, you can start to build out the world. And so maybe you can use different oracles. You can even just use straight up your own imagination and just try to come up with something for them. For adventure prompts, I like to think of them as potential, I guess, storylines or campaign ideas that the PC would be venturing through. It can be very difficult, especially if this is your first time to create an adventure prompt. So let's say you already have your PC and you are ready to make an adventure prompt. And so I will be going over various sources here. So we're going to go through this list of 6 different sources, I guess. Number 1, media mining. So meaning you can draw a lot of inspiration from the books you read, from the movies or shows that you watch, or even podcasts. Like I like to listen to some tabletop RPG podcast live plays, and that's a really good source of just inspiration, because you have the GM and then the players, and they're all just being very collaborative in how the story is progressing. So that's always fun to listen into for different types of adventure prompts, for example. So for me personally, I love getting inspiration from books. And Brandon Sanderson, in his series, The Stormlight Archive, he does such an amazing job with world building in here and just developing such a great character progression for literally all the characters in this book. Like I thought when I read this, it was going to be like one main character, but there's like a gazillion characters, and he is able to just go into depth of how they progress through the story and the world in here. So yeah, I would say like books is a really great inspirational source for all TTRPG related things. And then for number 2, image-based inspiration. And I really enjoy image-based inspiration, so I will just go through my own process. So I love turning on some dungeon synth music, and as dungeon synth music is playing, all these different things just kind of come up in my brain, and I try to like draw it, or I find inspo too from like Pinterest or Google for like reference images and such. And so yeah, so I feel like with all these different images, I'm able to create different story prompts. So I know I posted this one recently, but this is Levi the Cyclops, and he's probably guarding something. And I know some of you guys have suggested maybe he is protecting his sickly mother, and he is just trying to find help. And then this image I really, really love. I actually got this inspiration from a graphic novel that I was reading, and I just love the vastness of the hills and the cliff here and the mountains and the clouds. And so here is a lone adventurer going through, and maybe he is trying to find some treasure, maybe hidden in the mountains, or maybe he's trying to go over the mountains, because that's the only way to go over to maybe the next town that he's trying to get to. And so yeah, just all these different inspirational kind of art. Here's another one, another lone traveler. I love just drawing like vastness of like different terrain, I guess. Getting some image-based inspiration. I actually know quite a few solo tabletop RPG players who actually look at tarot card art, and they would just look at the art, and whatever card they pull out, they would be able to kind of interpret it in their own way, and that would give them an idea of kind of the adventure prompt for their character. Another way is to look at art from books. Like for me, I absolutely love the art here in the advanced D&D 2nd edition. I feel like all things like older editions for Dungeons and Dragons, the art is just gorgeous. And I think like one thing that I just really love about this too is whoever did this art, they just know how to convey emotions in the art and in the characters here. Like you can see this one guy's very focused on trying to figure out what he wants to take, and then these other two, they're very distracted by the monster who has located the party of thieves here. And so yeah, I feel like just finding inspiration just from art, just gorgeous art. And this is a really great way to do some adventure prompt inspo too. Like yeah, like over here you see this who is this? Is this like a troll or something, or a giant? And you can see here this barbarian has slain the giant here. Let's see what else. Yeah, like over here there's like an army of undead, and this guy definitely looks freaked out, and he's definitely surprised. So maybe he had no idea that he was actually going to be entering this graveyard of living undead. And so yeah, I think just getting inspiration from art is a really fun way to get the creative juices kind of flowing for adventure prompts. So that is definitely one way that you can start an adventure prompt and kind of create it that way. So yeah, so art, media mining, and then number 3, use your system's random tables. So what I love doing is actually going through the random tables of a system, and I love going to the treasure section over here. And so when we think of treasure, I like to think of a PC having a goal, and maybe that might be to get this treasure that's hiding somewhere deep in the dungeons, and their goal is to get that treasure out. And so I love kind of rolling on the random tables here. So let's see, maybe there is a certain magic potion that he is tasked to get here. So let's see. Oh wait, it would be what is this? D100. So let's see. So he got a 25. Ooh, so there's like a gaseous form of a magic potion here. And it says here the user's body turns to a mist that he controls, allowing him to access any place that isn't airtight. Equipment is left behind, and only the body becomes gaseous. So look at that. Like, I feel like that would be really, really interesting to kind of mess around. So maybe there is a rare type of potion that the adventurer is trying to find, and it's the gaseous form magic potion. That is an idea of using the treasure tables here. I also love using scrolls as well, or magic items. And so sometimes when I approach like magic items and weapons and such, I really like to think of my character and just think of what they would want if it was a magic item of some sort. So maybe I might have a female dwarf who is a barbarian, and she really likes a good I don't know, like a good battle axe or something. And so I like to try to come up with maybe a magic item, and so maybe we can come up with a magic battle axe for her to retrieve. And maybe the battle axe is being protected by the giant that we saw in the advanced D&D 2E, from that art image of the woman that is actually kind of like threatening or slaying the giant. And so that could be an adventure prompt for my female dwarf barbarian. Maybe she really wants to get that battle axe, but it's being protected by that giant. So that is an example. I also love to see if maybe there is an antagonist that the PC wants to go against, and that antagonist is the one actually holding that magic item. And so sometimes I like to think of maybe there's a ring that he's wearing or a wand that the antagonist has, and my character is going to try to get that item. Maybe my character is going to try to steal that magic item from them. So yeah, so these are just really, really great ideas. If you want some adventure prompts, is to look at some random tables that are just from your system here too. I know for Troika over here, items, so an incomplete list of desirable things. So these different items and different spells and such, these can be really great prompts too. So this is more on like the sci-fi fantasy theme and genre. But you can see here the blue star maps of Corda. So that's something that might be very interesting that your PC would want to try to search for. And maybe the blue star maps could lead to treasure. Like, I'm kind of thinking of the book like Treasure Island, or the Disney edition of it, the Treasure Planet. That would be really fascinating to use as part of a adventure prompt. Let's see, what else is here? Oh, look at this, plasmic cores, crystallized starlight, cast in metal. That kind of reminds me of the show, the animated show Arcane. And so I feel like that would be really cool too, that people are kind of going crazy over these plasmic cores because they hold maybe so much value or power. I'm kind of thinking of, in the book that I just pulled out earlier, Stormlight Archive, there are these spheres that these people used, and they're like infused with stormlight, and that is very like valuable as well. And so yeah, there are just like so many different ways that you can just use items and kind of use that as an object that the PC would like to find or fight for, basically, and try to just think of ways of like, why would my PC like this? And that can help you as you build your world. So yeah, I hope that is helpful. So using tables from your system. And you know what? Let's just look at Shadow Dark as well. Shadow Dark's another great one here. There are different magic items. You can see here there's like a skull, a scroll, or a sword, or an orb here, or even like magic armor that people might be going crazy for. Or maybe there is a I don't know, maybe there is like a dark, chaotic king who is very greedy, and he's trying to hire dungeoneers to retrieve certain magic items. And the pay is good, let's say. Or maybe he even promises that you will get a seat next to his throne. I don't know. So these are some ideas, just using different items from your system here. That would be great. And then also kind of using the idea of, is this item cursed, or is it a good item? So yeah, those are some ideas for your system here. Okay, and then now for my next point here, we can use random table prompts. Like, there are a bunch of different random tables out there that you can find online, or you can even create your own prompts. And I always recommend to try to look for tables that have verbs or adjectives, because I think verbs and adjectives can kind of help you figure out what your PC kind of wants to do. So I'll actually showcase here my random table of symbols here. And so with this random table of symbols, my Thomas Signum here, I have different themes. So there are shapes. So here is a table of shapes, a table of horror or dark kind of symbols, creatures over here, and then on the back I have nature here. So let's say, I don't know, let's just do creatures here. So let's say we roll a d10. So let's see what we get. Okay, so we got a 1. So for a d10, we have here lion, leader, royalty, bravery, and courage. So maybe this symbol, let's say we have a sword, and on this sword, on the bottom of the sword's hilt, is a carving of a creature, and it is a lion, and it represents here royalty. So we can use the word royalty here. And let's say that this is a sword that kind of belongs to this lineage of royal knights or something. And let's say that this sword, this I guess I'll just say like this sword that has the lion carving on it, maybe the PC would like to try to maybe steal this precious sword because there was a rumor or something. We can say like there was a rumor that whoever wields this lion carved sword, maybe they are promised, let's see, we can do, they are promised, let's see, we can roll on the symbols theme here, and we can just pull out different words. So let's see, 8. Okay, so the wielder of the lion carved sword here, they are promised a protection. So I like that idea. So they are promised protection. So maybe there is a coming doom of some sort, and your PC definitely wants protection and wants to be prepared for that day of doom. Maybe it's like a bunch of undead come alive on this specific day or something, and your PC wants to be prepared. And so your PC wants to steal that royal sword here. So that is an example of an adventure prompt. So just using random table prompts with like verbs and adjectives, that'll definitely help. I also have examples here that you can read for yourself. For, let's say you roll a sea serpent, and you can see over here, and it happens to be a tattoo of a potential NPC. Over here, I have an example here of, let's see, a scorpion. And so scorpion, a danger, venomous, fatal, and it happens to be a scorpion symbol sewn on a patch of a thief's glove, for example. So yeah, so those are just different ideas. If you want to get ideas flowing for adventure prompts, you can totally use my random table of symbols. I have a link. I will put a link down in the description if anyone wants to download it, and it's free. So I hope this is helpful, and it's also a work in progress, because I know 10 options on the table isn't like a lot, but I hope it's at least a good start. Okay. And then the other thing too is for the random table of prompts, we also have here, I love showing this off, the old school revival solo role-playing guide and mythic. So for the old school revival solo role-playing guide, I love the table here because it definitely helps kind of give you an idea of different types of prompts. So you can roll on this, and it answers these basic questions: the who, what, where, when, why, and how. And I think when you put all of these different words together, you'll be able to create something. So let's do a little test here. So we'll roll a d10. So we got an 8. So there is a guild of some sort. And number 4, discovery. Okay, so there's a guild. We have discovery. Where is this guild? Number 8. Okay, it is in a cave. So how I'm kind of thinking of guild, discovery, cave, maybe this guild is hiding in the cave, and your PC wants to discover the cave or something. And then when, we don't really need to do when, but let's just see. So when, in 1d4 days, okay, so maybe in a couple of days, something's happening with this guild that's hidden in a cave. And 2, influence. Oh, so maybe it's a guild and they're trying to influence different people to join the guild, maybe. And so let's see, we have 4. So 4 is violence. Oh, so maybe instead of just trying to convince them through speech, maybe they're going to use violence and threaten people to join their guild. So that is an example of an adventure prompt that you can totally use in the old school revival solo role-playing guide. So that's an example. And mythic, I love mythic because it is just a huge book of different tables. And I will say sometimes these tables might come off as like a little too vague for me, and so I might have to push the meaning kind of certain words. But I know for me, so maybe like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of like my PC, and maybe my PC, we can roll on the background. Yeah, so let's see what my PC's like background is. Okay, so we got 37. So 37, escape. Okay, so maybe my PC is actually trying to escape from something. And then I would want to see maybe who. Oops. So maybe my PC is trying to escape from something or someone. And so maybe we can roll on, let's see. Ooh, I have an idea. What if they're trying to run away from a monster or something? So maybe we can roll on the creature descriptors and the abilities. So let's see. 64 4. Passive, okay. And then what else for abilities? We have a, oops, that was a 09. Block. Oh, okay, so what if my PC starts in a cave that is blocked, and this type of creature, maybe he's not super hostile towards the PC, but is a little bit on like the passive side. And so that could be an interesting adventure prompt, is trying to see how the PC can escape from this weird creature, but also to get out of the cave there. So yeah, so that is an example of how to use Mythic. And let's continue on with that idea of this weird creature who is not super violent, I guess. And maybe this creature is protecting something. And we can roll on the objects table here. So we have 59. And so something meaningful. Oh, how I'm kind of interpreting meaningful, maybe this passive creature, maybe it was scared that the PC might harm. Maybe this creature is a mother and is trying to just protect her little babies. Yeah, maybe like the mother is just focused on protecting the babies, and maybe the PC, he doesn't seem like an immediate threat or something. So yeah, so that is an idea for using Mythic. And I also have here the Mythic Adventure Crafter. And I'll say this is a really, really good one if you are trying to look for and create adventure prompts and seeds. This is a really good tool. Like if there's one that I really recommend for adventure prompts, I really highly recommend the Adventure Crafter. So you see here, depending on what the theme is, then you can see what the plot point is. So let's say the theme that we have for this adventure is a mystery. So now we have to roll a D100 to see what the plot point is. So we have here 22. So for a mystery for 22, actually we have to roll that again because that would be not effective. So let's see. Okay, so we got 07. Now let's try it again. Oops. So for mystery, we would get, what is this, 90. Okay, so for mystery, we got 90. Okay, so it is fraud. So a character is a fraud. Whatever it is, they are presenting themselves as, or whatever story they have told of themselves is false. So that would be really interesting. That could be a really cool adventure prompt there. Like maybe the PC is realizing that their teacher or their trainer, whoever, someone that they look up to, is actually a fraud. So that would be a very, very interesting adventure prompt for your PC and your character there. So that is an example of how to use random table prompts. So using verbs, adjectives, you can use like different objects to just help spark that idea. And now for number 5, use synonyms for the hard to interpret words. So you just saw like earlier that there were some words where I just kind of wanted to push the meaning, and that's kind of what I mean. So for example, if you have words storm, sea, and water, and you're trying to think of maybe a location that you want the adventure to start in, you can just kind of push that meaning, and you can come up with maybe a lighthouse, or maybe it is a cliff up against the rocks on the beach or something. And so that is an example of how to push the meaning when you're trying to look for synonyms, or if you just want to kind of expand what is the definitive meaning there behind that word. Another great source of inspiration for adventure prompts is going back into history, looking at myths, looking at legends. Like I love the story of Atlantis, and I love that movie too. That Disney movie was so good. but just like adventurers trying to discover the secrets of Atlantis, trying to interpret all the different runes and its meanings and the history of Atlantis. Maybe you can come up with an adventure prompt about maybe a party of adventurers trying to find the fountain of youth. Maybe they are these old men who miss the good days, maybe of back when they used to be just really, really good and popular mercenaries or something, and they're trying to find the fountain of youth to see if they can relive those days again and just be young again. So that'd be a really, really fun kind of adventure prompt there. So yeah, so these are different ways for you to use these sources to help kind of spark that inspo for adventure prompts. That concludes kind of the 6 points that I wanted to make about finding inspiration here to make your adventure prompts. And I think kind of what my solo role-playing guide here was going through with the complex questions table. I think these are really good, just basic questions that you want to ask yourself. The who, what, when, where, and why when you create adventure prompts. That'll definitely really help just give yourself structure, because I know when it comes to just making up your own stuff, that can be pretty hard. Another thing that I think will also be helpful is to make a map or like a web of some sort to see how you want things to connect. So when I said earlier that making the PC is the easiest way to kind of get your adventure prompt like going, making the PC first I feel like is, because then after that you can easily build the world and make it relate to the PC in different ways. And then from there you can create the NPCs, the factions, the towns, an antagonist who's going to be like the opposite of the PC. Or maybe they are very similar, and the antagonist is trying to entice the PC to join him, maybe. Ruins, temples, etc. And then when you come up with your story prompts here, then you can decide how you want it to connect in the world. So for example, if you have a story prompt here, you can make it connect to the PC. And so you have to think of why would the PC care about this story prompt? And then maybe the PC has relationships with a couple of NPCs, maybe friends, maybe lovers. And so when you want the PC to care about the prompt, and maybe then you can tie it to the NPC. So then the PC would actually care about the NPC's well-beings. And so that's kind of one way to tie it into the story prompt. And then maybe if you want instead, you want the story prompt to be connected to the antagonist. And maybe the antagonist is going to be located here in the ancient ruins. So you can connect the story prompt to different parts of the world. And so when I was talking about verbs here, I'm going to backtrack a little bit. I think verbs is really a really good way to get story prompts going. So I'll make like a little table here. So if we did, let's say a 1d6 of verbs, okay? So let's do this. So 1d6 of verbs. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, and so we can say run, that's a verb. We can say hide, discover is a verb. We can say, I want to say jump could be one. Another one is to maybe investigate. We can say explore maybe. When we have our table of verbs here, when we want to try to create our prompt, so we'll make a space here for the prompt, okay? And so we'll have here our PC, he's over here, okay? And let's say our PC is a warrior, okay? And let's say he has an NPC in his life. Let's say he's a family man. Yeah, let's say that. So family man, so kids, maybe a husband. Yeah, why not? There we go. So our PC is a warrior. family man, kids, he has a husband, so a really nice, fulfilling life. He is a big family man. And so we'll see what the verb is. Let's do that. So let's see. 6, explore. Okay, so if we want our PC in the world that's related to or has like relations with various NPCs, and we're trying to tie it back to the story prompt here, we got the word explore. So maybe our PC wants to explore, and then we can say something, maybe different locations here. So now we can have a 1d6 of locations. Okay, so maybe we have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's see, maybe we have a lost kingdom. That'd be really cool. Maybe it would be a cave with treasure. We can do that. I like the Fountain of Youth idea. Let's just do that. Fountain of Youth. We can say maybe explore. He is trying to, I don't know, maybe he wants to jump on a ship or something. So jump on a ship and go to the seas. Yeah, so maybe that. Maybe like uncharted seas here. Or we can say, I don't know why, but this idea just randomly popped up into my mind, but maybe there's like a floating island in the sky. A floating island. Yeah, and he's trying to find a way to get up there. Maybe that. Or there is a secret portal to a totally different dimension. Maybe something like that. So we can say, this is the who, and then what would explore be? I guess that could be the why, maybe, yeah. And then explore, the location will be the what. So let's see. 4, uncharted seas. Okay. Uncharted seas. All right. So this would be the where / what, maybe. Okay. So this would be our adventure prompt here. So this PC wants to explore the uncharted seas. And now we want that to relate back to the NPCs somehow. So what if maybe our PC, so maybe his husband, okay? So maybe his husband has told him stories, has told the family stories of treasure that's hiding deep in the waters. And maybe they are struggling financially. And this amount of treasure, of gold, it'll help the family out. So yeah, so maybe this family is poor, and the PC's husband told stories of treasure. And this treasure is hiding somewhere in the deep waters. And so maybe the PC, being a family man and just wanting to provide and support the family, he wants to go on this treasure hunt. So I don't know, but anyways, so that is an example of how to create an adventure prompt. So that is kind of just a little idea of how to do that. I hope that example was helpful. And please don't ever think that your adventure prompt is quote unquote not cool or quote unquote not good enough. I think honestly, any adventure prompt can be a lot of fun, and you can add different like twists to it. If you want to make it more interesting, you can make it relate to maybe different NPCs or maybe the antagonist to make it tie back to the character there. And so it is up to you how you want to craft and form this adventure, and just embrace the process. And if it's a prompt that you don't like, then feel free to start over, or you can even just take one that you find from books or from a movie that you watched and just kind of make a few twists to make it your own. Like, it doesn't have to be an original, I guess, idea, because all these stories of adventures and exploring. It's they're all just kind of ideas kind of bounced off from one another, I feel like. And so I think if you don't end up liking your adventure prompt, you can always just kind of take what's already existing out there and just twist it, make it your own thing. All right, well, that is it for today's video, talking all about adventure prompts. Let me know, adventurers, maybe if you are new to the hobby, let me know if you have any questions, or maybe folks in this community can also help answer questions as well if you want to make a comment down below. And also, please let others know if you are a very experienced tabletop RPG solo player, maybe a GM or DM. If you have any advice to these new players, feel free to just put comments down, because I'm sure any advice would be helpful for especially new players who have never really done adventure prompts before. So, all right, well, that is it for today's video, adventurers. Thank you so much for watching and for all the support. Until next time.